Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Now, would you believe it? Charles Dowding admitted on social media the other day, although maybe admission is a bit too strong a word, because it seems to be pleasure, that he'd been eating Brussels sprouts, but raw Brussels sprouts that he picked from his own plants in his own garden. After a trip from overseas, I think he was quite happy to be back in his garden and being able to pick his own fresh vegetables that he knows have been grown the best way he can. And that's key. The thing is that he also went on to explain the point that because it was so fresh, it had a higher sugar level when he tested it. And when you have something like that, having that quantity of sugar in that vegetable changes its flavor. I'll be honest with you, the thought of eating a Brussels sprout raw doesn't exactly switch on my taste buds. It doesn't fill me with a lot of enthusiasm. But then when you step back and think about it, it does sort of make a bit of sense. If you think that we eat quite a lot of vegetables that we don't actually cook, we need to cook quite a lot because our digestive systems can't get it through us. And therefore, it's hard for us to get the nutrients and the value out of those fruits and vegetables that we eat. But quite a lot we do. And perhaps we don't realize it. Here's an example: coleslaw. So raw onions, raw carrots, and raw cabbage. A cheese and onion sandwich, again, raw onion, unless you want it cooked, of course. There's so many examples out there that perhaps we don't really realize that we do eat it. Now, there was a fad a few years ago about eating raw vegetables and how good they could be for our health, but it seems to have gone by the wayside, like a lot of these diet fads seem to do. And maybe that's because we do need to be able to digest that food. And one of the only ways we can do it is to cook it. But we don't cook tomatoes all of the time. We eat them fresh off the vine. And we don't cook our spring onions unless we're doing a stir fry. And it's the same with salad leaves. So do we need to be cooking all of these foods all of the time? The thing is that if Charles Dowding really enjoyed that Brussels sprout because it tasted sweet, is that a way that we can get kids to eat more veg? Well, let's have a look at the science behind it all and see maybe if there's a way that we can change the flavour profiles of our fruit and veg to encourage better tastes for ourselves and perhaps encourage our kids to eat more. The whole reason for Regen is to show you an easy way to grow your own produce by using a variety of methods that can make things simpler to follow and understand. And at the same time, it reduces the effects of climate change and improves both our physical and mental health as well. We will be publishing a video soon that talks about the health benefits. It's why we encourage as many people as possible to grow their own as much as they can. Growing your own enables you to eat produce that has a different flavour profile, making them more appealing, but what can you do if you can't grow your own? We've got some alternatives here for you to consider, so let's just take a quick look. The flavour of a vegetable can change significantly from the moment it is picked, right up to the time it's eaten, and this is due to a number of factors. The first is cellular breakdown. As vegetables sit after being picked, the cells continue to break down, and they release sugars, acids, and other compounds that can affect the flavour. This breakdown is accelerated by factors such as the temperature, light, and also moisture. Vegetables also produce ethylene. Many fruits and veg produce this gas as they ripen. And as it's produced, it causes the breakdown of the cell walls and the release of flavour compounds. This is why some fruits, such as apples and tomatoes, should not be stored in the same container with other veg, as the ethylene from the fruit can cause the other veg to spoil prematurely. The way we process our veg can also affect its flavour. For example, blanching veg in boiling water can help to preserve their colour and texture, but it can also diminish their flavours. And obviously cooking can also significantly alter the flavour of a vegetable. Take a raw onion, completely different taste to a cooked onion. Cooking methods such as roasting, grilling and stir frying can caramelise sugars, and that goes on to create new flavour compounds. This can make vegetables taste sweeter, richer and more complex. Finally, the way a vegetable is seasoned can also have a major impact on its flavour. Salt, pepper, herbs and spices can all be used to enhance the natural flavours of your vegetables. Here's some tips for you to get the best out of your veg. If you can't grow your own, buy fresh vegetables as close to the time of consumption as you possibly can, and store them properly to minimise the exposure to light, heat and moisture. Cook them quickly at a high temperature to preserve their flavour and texture. You can also use a variety of cooking methods to experiment with different flavours. And season your veg generously. But chemical residues on veg can make them taste quite bitter. This is because some chemicals can bind to the taste receptors on our tongues and interfere with the way we perceive sweetness, bitterness, sourness, etc. And some of the most common chemical residues that can cause bitterness in veg include pesticides, herbicides and of course fungicides. As a reminder, pesticides are chemicals that are used to kill pests such as insects, weeds and fungi. Some pesticides can break down into harmful chemicals that can accumulate in the soil and the water and eventually onto the vegetables that we eat ourselves. So these interfere with the taste receptors on our tongues, and that's what makes our veg taste bitter. Herbicides are the chemicals that are used to kill weeds. And these chemicals can also damage our taste buds and again make our veg taste bitter. Fungicides are the chemicals that are used to kill obviously fungi, such as moulds and mildew. And some fungicides can cause bitterness in veg, though it is less common than with pesticides and herbicides. But here's some way to reduce our exposure to these chemical residues. Hopefully you can grow your own, but if you can't, buy organic vegetables wherever you can and whenever possible. This is because organic produce is grown without the use of synthetic pesticides, herbicides or fungicides. Wash all your veg thoroughly before you eat them. This will help remove any dirt, debris or pesticides that may be on the surface of your veg. And cook them thoroughly as well. Cooking can help break down some of those compounds that can cause the bitterness. You can also steam or microwave your vegetables instead of boiling them. Boiling can cause vegetables to absorb more water, which can dilute the flavour and then make them taste less bitter. You could try blanching vegetables before you cook them. It's a quick cooking method that involves submerging vegetables in boiling water for a short period of time. And it can help remove some of those bitter compounds from the veg in the first place. Don't forget to season your vegetables generously, because salt, pepper, herbs and spices can all help to mask the bitterness of some veg. Just going back to the original point at the start of this particular video, by growing your own, you can eliminate all these factors and have great tasting veg that your kids are going to enjoy as well. In fact, the whole family, young or old. Video there has shown us that there's lots of different ways that we can enhance the flavour of the produce that we produce. We grew over 500 kilos of produce in our growing space here. Now, we've used that in so many different ways. A lot of it we've frozen, but we've also fermented some things. So we've made some kimchi, for example, and we've made some krauts. That's one example. I've used the fruits either to freeze or to turn them into smoothies or to turn them into the drinking vinegars. And there's a video that I'm going to link for you to have a look at that. So you've got a different way of using that type of produce. We can roast, we can boil, we can steam. There's so many different ways. And of course, we can eat them raw like Charles was doing with his particular sprout variety. So there's lots of different ways that we can use our produce to get the best out of them. I hope you found this video of interest, and if you did, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. But for now, you take care, and I'll catch you soon.